Hey y'all, welcome to the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda, the podcast where guests will share information and research on self-love, living a wellness-filled life, how to heal from traumatic events, and more. This podcast is sponsored by Healing Hearts and Minds Publishing, LLC, a new company that publishes books that promote self-love, healthy relationships, avoidance of unhealthy relationships, and much, much more. Check out their first publication, Unhealthy Relationships, Let's Stop the Madness, a guide for those in unhealthy relationships and for those who want to help them. Written by first-time author and co-host of the Healing Space Live and Online, Roxanne Elizabeth Epperson. Visit Amazon.com to purchase the paperback or ebook. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so this episode we're going to talk about some terminology that has to do with relationships. And we want to make sure that you check us out next Thursday for our regular 5 o'clock session. And on the last Thursday of the month, please join us for our annual Look at Me Now. And we've added a subtitle to Look at Me Now. It's Look at Me Now, you bent me, but you didn't break me. How about that? So we're going to have 3 phenomenal women share with us their journey and their experiences with domestic violence and how they have survived it. So on that, I'll turn it over to Miss Rhonda.
Hello, everybody. I am so glad to be here again with Roxanne, and for all of you listening in with us, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everybody who listened to our encore presentation last week. Several of you let me know that you really enjoyed that, so I'm really glad you listened to Tony Porter. He is such an advocate of working in the field of domestic violence, and he's very educational. He teaches a lot, so I'm really glad that you were able to watch that or listen to it, however you chose. Along with Roxanne, we're pleased and proud to say this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we know that we hear a lot in the news about breast cancer awareness, and we never want to take away from that. We want to add to it by saying this is also a very important month for victims and survivors of intimate partner violence. Thursday, actually today, you're actually hearing this, is Wear Purple Day. However, we encourage you to wear purple all the month of October. Anytime during the month, that is the color. So either get your little purple ribbon, purple jewelry, or just anything, sweaters, something that you can use to talk about domestic violence. And when someone asks you about it, it's your chance to increase awareness. So again, thank you for that. Roxanne introduced our topic. She said we were going to jump into talking about different terms and terminologies for relationships. So we're just looking to have fun with this conversation. And this is going to be like how should I say it? This is going to be like part 1. We don't know when part 2 is coming, you know? There's a rap song. I don't know if anybody, I wish I knew the name of it, but there's a rap song that at the end of it, it says, this is part 1, listen up for part 2. That song's about 20 years old. I don't think they ever did part 2. But anyway, we're going to do this ourselves tonight, Roxanne and I. But then we're going to have some guests come on, and we're going to revisit this and have some other opinions on these same topics. So you ready, Roxanne?
Yeah, I am, but I would want to give one more plug before we begin.
Okay.
So this is Thursday. So on yesterday, Rhonda was a moderator on a panel, and I'm hoping you will go back and catch it again, because as some of you know, I have a temporary assignment with the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh. And there we have action conversations on race. And yesterday, Rhonda moderated a panel on how white men can help eradicate violence against women. Am I saying it right, Rhonda? Go ahead and give the plug.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that people can go back and listen to that. And if you just go to the YWCA Greater Pittsburgh website, I'm sure you'll be able to find that information. And I'll be there representing my full-time position, Women's Center and Shelter of Greater Pittsburgh, is the moderator. And it's male allies and accomplices of race and anti-violence work. So really, I'm sure it was great. So just take a listen.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, now I'm ready.
All right. So the first that Roxanne and I, and this is funny, y'all, because we've told you before, Roxanne and I can really debate something, and it is so funny because we've even done it during the podcast. I'll say something, and Roxanne look at me and say, "Well, that's not what I was thinking." Or one time, Roxanne made a comment, I'm like, "I don't agree with that." So this is just us having a chat. That's why it's called Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. The first one we're going to look at is in a relationship. We're talking right now about intimate relationships. Certainly when you say relationship, you can think of mother and child, you can think of employer and supervisor and supervisee. But tonight, or this day, we're really focusing on relationships, intimate relationships. So, Roxanne, what's our thoughts? What's your thoughts? Is what comes first? Are you vulnerable to be courageous? Or are you courageous to be vulnerable? What does it take first to do? Am I vulnerable? And that leads me into having courage, or do I have to have courage to be vulnerable? And I'm going to say for me, and I might flip flop it a little bit, but I'd say for me personally, I have to have courage to be vulnerable because I can really, I don't believe in zodiac stuff a lot. Some of that stuff that just really gets to you. Like I am under the zodiac sign of Cancer, the crab, and I can go in that shell. I can go in that shell like a crab, particularly in the intimate relationship. And I don't necessarily have to tell you too much. And I know it's not fair. And I know it's not healthy necessarily either. But I can get in that shell, and you have to really dig, to get me out of that shell. So I have to find my courageousness in order to be vulnerable because I'm afraid to be vulnerable in relationships. So that's how I'll start it out.
Wow. Okay, so like I shared with Rhonda earlier, I had to look up the word vulnerable because I hear it a lot, and I've never actually seen it written, the definition of it. So now I'm a little bit confused, but I need you to just help me understand. So there's the two, what's this, Merriam-Webster or whoever. Anyway, it says a person is in need of special care, support, or protection because of age, disability, or risk of abuse or neglect. Okay. That's one version of it. And it says, and this is a word I can never say, susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm. So I'm not real sure where courage comes through in that.
Oh, okay. So the way I look at vulnerable is when you are willing or able to take a risk. I don't know if there's other definitions of it, but I've always thought about vulnerability being someone who you open yourself up to risk. So in a relationship, if it's at the point, and I know a lot of people who have this conversation, who said I love you first? Did he tell you first, or did you tell him first? So in a relationship, for me, what I'm saying, it would take a lot for me. It would take a lot of my courage to tell you some of my innermost things, to tell you about past relationships, because that makes me vulnerable. But I see how this goes to that dictionary definition. It then makes me susceptible, as you were saying, or vulnerable to how you might hurt me, how you might now use that information against me, whether it may be emotional abuse. And we know with abuse, it's a pattern of behavior that happens over time. So the first time I say something and tell you my partner something, and they use it, they may just bring it back in a way that seems real subtle. So I might not even realize that if they are a person who uses power control, I may not even recognize that right away. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm vulnerable to that once I open myself up and share it.
So let me give you two examples of my experience with that. And one is a young man told me, a man told me, you never tell your experience of abuse because they might use it against you, just what you just said, right? Then I ended up going on a date with this guy and getting involved with this guy. And I told him what I had been through. Now I'm thinking, I'm letting you know what I've been through because I ain't taking it no more. So don't be coming up here playing those games with me. I'm not going through it. I'm not having it. Well, he tells me later on in the relationship that when I told him that, it scared him to death. He said, because, he said he didn't want to hurt me. But he did. And it wasn't a physical hurt. He was one of those. It's one of the topics that we're going to talk about at a later date. And I'm not going to elaborate on it. We're going to talk about cheating when we have our audience, because eventually we do plan on having call-in sessions on our weekly show. So we're working on that, So I think we'll save that one for the cheating, because we did one real quick. We did a session with mothers and daughters and my niece and myself, and the conversation ended with cheating. And it got so deep. We said, oh, we need a whole session on this, because one woman said, she, basically she ain't see anything wrong with it, or, everybody has their own opinions on it. So we'll deal with that at another date. But vulnerable to the risk of, you're right. So you do become vulnerable to the risk of abuse or being harmed if you open up. So you're saying, and your thing was the courageous part again. Point that back to me.
My part is it takes courage for me to open up and share, because I feel it makes me vulnerable. That now that I have shared, like you're saying, you shared with the brother about abuse and, thought it was going to be safe and, he used it against you.
And see, and now I would not do that, but it's kind of hard for me not to, because my story was in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. So a lot of people already know what I went through, but, of course, a lot don't. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I would just be, I would be in that shell right along to now. Vulnerability.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to play with it in my mind. I don't know how you switch it around. I don't want to sound so opinionated that, and I'm really just truly talking about for me and my experience. I don't know how it works the other way, that I'm vulnerable, so therefore I can be courageous. I'm trying to play with that. So I guess if I am open, if I allow myself to be vulnerable, I allow myself to trust you enough, I guess that's what it is. If I allow myself to trust you enough to tell you about my past and some of my trauma history and the abuse that I've been through. So if I'm vulnerable enough to tell you that, then I'm having courage to trust, I guess, that maybe it's giving me the courage that I need to open up and be honest in a relationship. So I guess that's how it could work in that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, because you want to be open and honest and transparent in all relationships, I would imagine. We need to be open, and I don't know. That's a hard one, but I don't know. I think I'm on the shutdown road right now. I'm like,
girl, as soon as you said you want to be open in all relationships, I gotta knock my stomach like,
I know. Well, I guess I didn't mean all. I guess I meant like even with friends, or I guess I don't know.
No, I mean, open. Healthy. It's just I don't see myself there at this point. I do think it's healthy.
I'm probably not there either. I don't know. I have to find out. But I have been around somebody who is vulnerable and shares, and a male was just very transparent in his conversation, and maybe he shouldn't. Well, I'm glad he did, because what it did was it let me know that he wasn't the one, because he shared some stuff that I'm like, oh, it was all kind of red flags in that conversation. So that was a good thing. And, I'm glad he did, but I'm like, wow. So I guess it could work for you or against you.
Yeah. I had a guy tell me that one time that I don't want somebody to open up and tell me the truth. But I mean, it was like our first conversation, absolutely first conversation. He told me too much. I mean, it was too much for me. So, and he took offense that I wasn't ready to receive all that information from him. And I don't remember if we had a second conversation, but I can tell you, I know we didn't have a third.
Wow. Okay. So you want to move on to the next word? Because
okay, so the next one is a 4-part one, y'all.
Oh no.
So get ready, listeners. And I gotta give props to Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud. Now, as I give props to it, if you are sensitive to foul language,
don't watch it or don't listen to it.
I'm just gonna say, But there are some really good conversations because Kevin himself, and I'm not going to name all the other names, but anyway, they call themselves the Cup Boys, and they have conversations about relationships. And then there's one called the Ladies Room. So the Cup Boys, but when one particular episode I listened to for sure, the Cup Boys had also a woman on that particular broadcast with them, but it's usually the Cup Boys, and then the Ladies Room are usually ladies. So I got to give a thumbs up because that kind of stimulated my thinking to say, hey, Roxanne, let's talk about this. So this isn't all from them, but it definitely stimulated some of my thoughts. So one of the ladies' conversations, I know they were talking about what do you like? What part of the relationship do you like most? And the four parts, and then we'll come back and talk about each one. Chase, the dating part, or when you have the commitment, now you're exclusive, or the comfortable phase, like I think people kind of describe that like an old couple, he sits on the couch reading the newspaper while she's, crocheting. I don't know. But we're going to talk about each phase, right? So do you want to go first? I went first last time. So Roxanne, what do you like? The chase, the dating, the commitment is exclusive, or like old pair of shoes, we're comfortable with one another.
Oh Lord. Well, I can tell you, dating, I don't know. I really don't even know how to really answer this, but because it's been such a while since I've even wanted to be in a serious committed relationship that it's like, I don't know. I'm trying not to be negative because I do believe that if the Lord blesses me with a mate, I will gladly accept him. Okay. But right now I ain't feeling none of them. But anyway, I think I like the commitment in the comfort phase. I think the comfort phase is, like you said, old folks, just you've been through it all. You've traveled the world. You've had all kind of fun. You just enjoy each other's company. And I know a lot of couples in my circle that, and I always say, I'm like, look at them. They still like each other. Because I could feel the comfort with them, and they travel and they're doing all kind of things together. And I'm like, they've been married over 20, 25, 30 years. One yesterday, I just found out this weekend, they've been married 40 years. 36 years. Okay. They've been married 36 years. And every time I turn around, they're traveling here and there. Oh, we're just coming back from so-and-so. As a matter of fact, that's going to be one of the couples that we're going to interview for healthy relationships because they're just too darn cute. So I could see the comfort in that. So I could see growing and getting to that point. But the chase, I don't think women, I don't know if women do the chasing or not, but I was told by,
not biblically.
And because I know the men do the chasing, and once they catch you, they don't want you no more because that's the whole thing. It's all about the chase. Now, a man told me this.
Who's like that, right?
Say that again?
That's only for men who are like that just want to do the chase, or women, but you refer to it as a guy. You said a man likes to chase you, and after he gets you, he doesn't want you. I think that's just for that particular kind of guy who that is all he wants. He just wants to do the chase, see if he can get you, and also get you in bed. We know that. See how far he can get with you, and then he's done. But I do believe, and as you just said, if the Lord bless you with a man, you're going to be open to that. You're going to be vulnerable to receive that. But I think that I know there are people, and I'm going to say men or women because we can't just limit it to men, non-binary people as well, that, I think there are people that would definitely just want to do the chase. They don't want the commitment part. They don't want that phase. They don't want to get into the comfort zone and settle down. The chase is fine and they're going to move on. I work a lot with youth, and I try so hard to tell them, and it would obviously be true for adults, just say it, just say it in the beginning, because the thing is, there's usually somebody out there who wants the same thing you want. It's just but I don't leave. I think the problem comes on is like when you describe, he just wants to chase, right? I think the problem comes in when he or she, but when that person gets with somebody, we're going to use he at this time. So I think when he gets with somebody and he know he's only about to chase, don't go looking for the woman who wants a commitment. Because a woman she's going to carry herself that way if she wants a commitment. There's a certain way she's carrying herself. There's certain
Mhm.
places she goes, certain places she doesn't go, because she's
Mhm.
looking for commitment, And if you know that, or if she's told you that, I don't care whether she told you first, second, third conversation you all have, fourth time. Once she tells you she's looking for commitment and you know you're about to chase, tell her and or move on. Move on. I say tell her and move on, not and or. Tell her and move on, or if you tell her and then she says, well, you know what? I still want to stick with you. I just want to see what might happen. Then in the end, if you leave because that's all you wanted was, well, at least you told her. Like I said, I try to tell my young guys, I work with a lot of young men, but just try to tell them, just whatever
Be
you want,
honest.
be open with that. I think the same thing with all four phases here. If you just want the chase, if you want the commitment, if you want the comfort part, if you want to just date and chill, and that's not Netflix and chill or chill and Netflix. I always mix that up. They don't even say it anymore.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying, if you want just a dating part, whatever it is, I think you should be honest about it.
Well, okay, so I'll take back part of it because that would be a stereotype the way I had said it, like all men are looking for the chase, and it kind of reminded me. This is off topic just a little bit, but there was I've heard Steve Harvey and a couple other men. They don't believe that a man can have a strictly a relationship with a female without that. They always want to have sex with this female that they're being a friend with, and I just don't believe that. And there was other men that were saying that is not true. I got friends that ain't no way in the world I'm thinking about sleeping with her because that's my girl. It's just not. Everybody's not horny, Steve. But anyway, yeah. So, but no, I like the comfort stays. I don't know. I don't know. Commitment. They're all good. They all have their pluses and their minuses. I would imagine.
um, yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
The chase. I guess I think about it when it's done respectfully. It's fun. They're like, well, the people kind of the cat and mouse game. Like to come here, no, go away. I think that could be fun when it's done respectfully. Because I am going back to our first being courageous and vulnerable. You know, like I just said, the guy who told me everything in the first conversation, I'm done. I don't want too much all at once when we first starting out to get to know each other. I don't want too much all at once. So
Mhm.
I think the chase is very important to me. I have to have a little bit of that, I guess really I'm at that time I'm evaluating and basing on if I think this is worthy. And I don't mean
Mhm.
is he worthy of me? Is it
Mhm.
worthy of each other and our time? Let's just find out a little bit about each other. I think there could be a lot of fun and humor during the chase part. Again, taking over when it's done respectfully. So
And I don't know that I've ever experienced a chase. It seems like I've just been dating. You meet somebody and you start dating them, or whatever. But
mm,
I have to go back on my memory bank and see if they're. I, if well, I've been chased now. Whether I've chased anybody now, I don't know. you
uh,
know, but no, it's all good. Yeah, this it's all good. A good
that comfort
relationship.
part is the one for me. Like
Yeah, I
I,
like that.
you do, I don't. I was
You
gonna
don't
say
like
that.
comfort?
Mm, I was in a relationship where I I don't know. The comfort for me is sort of like the lazy phase, and I still want to be real energetic and like my brother and his wife, they still have a date night every week. You often hear couples nowadays talk about a date night. They still have a date
Right.
night. I want to keep that kind of energy in my relationship, and I think when you get to the comfort zone, but I'm not saying we can't be comfortable within our commitment to each other. That's wonderful. And yeah, is it time to just sit back on the couch and eat some popcorn and watch a movie? Yeah, that's fun. Doing that on a regular basis, where routinized. That's what it is for me. I think of comfort as being routinized. We know each other's rhythm so much and so well that it's just like it's not enough in there. Let me say this, and
Okay.
we can move on. But and unfortunately, the woman, the wife in this relationship, passed away. Her name was Kathy. But Kathy's husband said to me one day, you know what? He called her by her full name, Catherine, and his name was Thaler. I hope it's okay. I've shared their names. They're a very loving couple. She was fine. I shared her name. But Thaler said to me one time, you know, and they've been married about 20 years, I think, at this point. He said, you know, I'm still finding out new things about Catherine. I still find out after all these years. Now I'm bracing myself for him to tell me something very like impassioned and like wow, that's deep. I think he's going to say something deep. And I guess it was deep. He said, I never knew she liked the candy bar, Mr. Good Bar. Wow, but if you really hear the love in that statement, like he was still finding so much out about his bride, his wife of 20
Mhm.
years, and he didn't know
Mhm.
that she liked that certain candy bar, and that was enough to make him feel something. You know what I'm saying? So there
Wow.
was still energy in their commitment without it feeling. That to me wasn't saying it was routinized, or like same old every day.
Okay, so I guess I wasn't looking at comfort like that. I was
Right.
looking at, yeah, I'm looking at it as like I'm just so we're so like all of the so used to each other. We just enjoy each other's company so much. We're just so comfortable with each other. I'm looking at it like, and the thought of trying to get that in with a new person, you know what I mean? Like if that relationship was to end, like your friend, your couple you're just talking about. No, he has to go through all of that again, maybe if he decides to get a new mate in his life, and just to go through all of that again and getting to know him all over again. It's like, oh, that's too much. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I don't feel like learning all that stuff right now.
So you're at the comfort zone in your own relationship, just you,
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah.
comfortable with
I'm
me.
comfortable with me, huh? Comfortable in
Yeah.
my own space and place. Yep. But no, but like I said, I would accept that if it was to come.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So are we done? We want to move on to the next one because I know we only have a few more minutes.
You want to
Oh,
do
you
the
know what? But before we do that, let me introduce our new sponsor. How about that? Yeah, we have a new sponsor, the Lutheran Settlement House. Excuse me, Lutheran Settlement House in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Rhonda's going to share a little bit about them.
So Lutheran Settlement House has a lot of services, and our sponsor is that their bilingual domestic violence program. Their bilingual domestic violence program offers services for survivors of domestic violence and dating violence. And they have a plethora of services to help people who are living with intimate partner violence, who are trying to flee a intimate partner violence relationship. They offer counseling for children and for adults also. It's actually, even though I work in domestic violence, and of course I love my own organization I work for, I have to say, if the one I work for is my number one, I have to say that. The sponsor is definitely my number two. I love Lutheran Settlement House. I actually donate to them because I like the way they treat people and how they do their program. So it's Lutheran Settlement House, bilingual domestic violence program. If anyone from Philadelphia area is listening to us, it's located at 1340 Frankfurt Avenue. That is at the zip code 19125. And whether you're in the Philadelphia area or not, their 24/7 hotline number is 866 723 3014. Thank you to our Lutheran Settlement House Bilingual Domestic Violence Program.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you. Okay, so Rhonda's gonna close us out with our last word.
All right.
Word.
So our last one, we're not going to talk about cheating because we're going to save that for the future. So the last one we're going to talk about is love versus life. Now, I will say that I did hear this on the ladies' room, on the Kevin Hart Laugh Out Loud, and boy, did I laugh out loud when they were having this conversation. So the one woman, and I'm sorry, I can't say I don't know their names. That's why I can't say them. I don't know. The one woman, I think it's three or four of them. I think it's four. But the one woman talked about the fact for her that once you get in love, that she doesn't have to like you. And the other woman were like, what? Girl, what you talking about? What do you mean you don't like him? How you gonna love him and not like him? But she was really trying to explain that once you get to the point that for her, once she gets to the point that she loves you, it doesn't matter if she likes you because love is going to prevail. It's going to take care of everything else in that relationship. So even if her partner did something that she didn't like about the partner, she's not. It doesn't matter. She's not going to hold it against that person. It's not going to break them up. It's not going to end the relationship. It's like, well, I love you now. Now it's funny because that's how I am with my female friends. Once I love you, as you're my girl, like I trust you. You know my secrets. Even if we have fallen out, it's just going to be temporary. It's just going to be temporary because But if you're that, and I'm not on that level yet. Right now, I'm just talking about a female platonic relationship, friendship. But if we're not on that level, you do something, I'm easy to write you off. Now we're just going to be speaking buddies. We're not hanging out. I'm not calling you, and we're not going to the mall, the movies, or anywhere else together. So, in an intimate relationship for me, I understand what the sister was explaining on the radio. I really do. That now, once I love you, that's for cover. It's like a blanket. It covers everything. So, there's going to be things I don't like about you. But what was important is, and I'll say this is for me as well, is you got to like them first. You got to go through the stage of liking them first. But the other women on the show they just was like, well, some of the other women were saying, well, I have to like you no matter what. Whether I love you or not, I still have to like you because they equated that to like, I want to be with you. I want to spend time with you. I want to be in this relationship with you. So that's how they was looking at like or love. So Roxanne, where do you come in with the like or love?
I agree with the like for you. I can't fall in love with somebody I don't like. I don't understand that. That's even with I have a family member who I love, but I don't like.
Okay.
So, I mean, I love this person, but this person is no longer with us. But anyway, I love this person, but I didn't like them.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna be in an intimate relationship with somebody, I can't imagine not liking them and being in love. It's a little different. The person that I loved and didn't like, they were too close to me for me not to love them. And I'm not going to share who the person was, but yeah, I have to like you. How do you get to love? Don't you have to like them first to get there?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess this is an individual, and
Yeah.
people
Well,
listen to us.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I guess as people are listening in, they can let us know, we'll give you the email address at the end. You can email us and give us your thoughts on what you think about like or love. She was saying she liked him first, but once they got to love, it didn't matter. It's
I don't know.
saying like you're stepping out the comfort zone. Once, and that could be misinterpreted how you describe what you mean by comfort, but I'm hearing it as once you're in that relationship and you're comfortable, it's just like, I love this guy, it's my husband, or this is my partner, I love him.
I guess it's like he's a family member now. So how do you stop loving a family member just because they did something that you didn't like?
Yeah. Or you don't always like them. Now, I can tell you as a parent, sometimes you love your kids, but you don't necessarily like them. They just put you through too much. And I guess I could be the same way in a relationship,
Right.
It's like, I have eternal love for my child. Everybody knows that I believe I'm the best mother in the world. Sorry, to the other moms. No, but in all seriousness, I've always loved my child. But I hope she doesn't watch this particular podcast. I do remember when she was in that middle school age, and I said something about not liking something she did, and she was crushed. She just wasn't ready to hear that, and she really thought I was saying I didn't like her. And I tried to explain, it's not, I always will love you. But she broke that thing down. Well, you said you always love me, but do you like me? And it's like, and I told her that there's times that, as a mother child, it was just pressed. It was a lot of pressure, So I can understand the I love you, but I don't like you right now phase. I can understand that as a mother. So I guess you could really go through that in an intimate relationship, a marriage. I love you, and I'm not thinking about divorce. That's off the table. And I'm thinking about breaking up. But I just don't like you right now, And I guess it could be something because of phase they're going through on their own.
Yeah, and I've heard, you see different shows and people interviewed that have been married 50 years or whatever. They say, yeah, there was times when we didn't like each other, so I guess that's just normal. So I wouldn't know until I got into that space to find out what that would be like. And I don't know that that's going to happen. Let me see how many years. Well, a friend of mine just found out that now she's 73 and she found out the life expectancy for people her age, she has 24 more years on this earth. So that means I'm 66. So that means I got quite a few more years left too. So maybe I will find out.
Yeah.
I go through all those phases: chasing, dating, commitment, and comfort, liking and loving.
All right.
So yeah, I can see it happening one day, but I still think I can understand where the young lady's coming from. But for me personally, like is a very strong emotion for me, that because if I don't like you, I can't get past, I can't grow into love.
I agree with you. I have to like it. But for me, that's in the chase. That's the chase for me. That's where I decide, do I like you? Yeah.
Okay. So give me an example. What happens during the chase? Because I'm like, I don't know if I've experienced that. I'm like I said, liking somebody in the dating.
Well, well, nowadays text, but I'm gonna do it our way, old school. So, and the chase, it would be like we call each other, we might see each other at a party, we may dance, but we're not. I'm going home with my girls, or whoever I came with, he's going wherever he's going. So it's just like we give each other attention every now and then, not too much. Like, well, for me, I would say not too much because that's when you're moving out of the chase phase. But in the chase, we pay attention to each other. We may do cute little things together, but it's not as serious as it's not even dating yet. It's just like I could describe it even if it was like in college. We see each other on campus. We might walk to class together, but then we may not talk to each other for 4 or 5 more days. But then when I see you on the weekend, we might be like I said, we might be at the same event together. We sit together at the concert, but then I go into my dorm room, he goes over his. So it's just like, little.
So this is somebody you got a little lightweight crush on or something like that.
Crush is a great word.
Yeah.
Crush is a great
word.
Yeah. Or respectful chase. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Little crush. All right. I'll go for that.
All right.
Well, if that's the case, then I did chase somebody one time.
I think if you gave it enough thought, you might come up to that.
I had to think about it, and you know who this person is because you instigated it. So I had a little lightweight. Well, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I had a little lightweight crush on this person for a couple of years, and my girl, she sees him out one night, and she kind of told on me, and it was all good because we ended up having about a year, whatever. I don't know what you called it. It definitely wasn't a commitment or comfort. We didn't get to that phase. and I can't even say it was dating because, as a matter of fact, this person he let me know that he wasn't looking for a commitment. So when you say you let people know up front, so that was my choice to be with him or whatever it was, knowing that he didn't want a commitment. But here's the problem, though. As time went by, feelings started developing with both of us, and so then comes to find out he was seeing somebody else. So I'm like, I just said, "Oh, you're cheating on me," and he said, "No, I'm not cheating on you." I said, "Oh, you cheating on her then?" She's being cheated on. Wow. That's how that went down, And so, and you say, do you still stay with them? Well, this is getting, I went into the cheating conversation anyway, just a little tad. Do you stay with this person anyway? So I'm gonna put a pin in it for right now. I'll finish that conversation when we talk cheating. So y'all got to come back and hear the rest. See what happened. Did she stay or did she go?
Great cliffhanger.
But yeah. So that's it. So what else?
We have come to our time, I believe. So I certainly hope that during this conversation, this podcast, I hope you all have some food for thought, some things that you can discuss in your relationships, and certainly that you can just discuss with your bestie. You know, who's your friend, who you hang out with, and who you trust. Who can you be vulnerable with to open up and have these kind of discussions? If it's your loved one, that's awesome. If it's your best friend, if it's your mom, who your sister, or whomever it is, we hope that you will have these conversations because I think part of the problem is we don't have these kinds of conversations. We don't figure them out for ourselves. So if you notice, Roxanne and I go back and forth and recall, did this happen for us? Is it happening now? Where do we stand on this? So I encourage all our listeners to think about this information for yourself. Figure you out first before you allow anybody else to try to figure you out and tell you who you are. That's a dangerous warning sign. You don't want to be in that kind of relationship where someone's telling you who you are and who you're supposed to be. Again, right. This is the Balance Awareness Month. We hope we have done something to help you raise your awareness. And I always like to give you the 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE is the national hotline for domestic violence. If you need that or someone in your family or friend, please share that number with them. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Roxanne for our closing.
Yeah. So, and if you, like she said, if you want to just shout out to us, get in on this conversation before we do our call-ins, because what I would do is create a space on our website for Q&A. We're working on that because we're actually recruiting women who have experienced domestic or sexual assault, domestic violence or sexual assault, to be members of our warriors, Healing Space Warriors. And in that space, it's going to be a private space. It's not going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on another platform, and you'll hear about that soon. We'll have a space in there for Q&A. When we have guests on, if we can't get to all of the questions, we'll post the questions and answers in this space. But in the meantime, if you would like to dialogue with us, just send us an email at info@warheals.org, and that's info@war, WAARHEALS.org. And just shoot your questions out to us. And our podcast is broadcast on Apple, Spotify, Audible, Pandora, anywhere, most of the platforms that you listen to your podcast on. You can hear us on Thursdays at 5 p.m. And again, the last Thursday of the month is our live podcast. And this month we're going to have our topic, Look at Me Now. You bent me, but you didn't break me. And it's going to be 3 phenomenal women. We might have a couple more, but definitely 3 phenomenal women who are very, very successful. And they have some stories to tell. Well, one of them, she's not even a survivor. She's and I won't give all away her stuff yet, but she's a businesswoman who has seen several women who have been abused. And she uses her platform that she has, and she'll tell you all about it, to encourage women to get out of those type of relationships, and she educates them about it. So I'm looking forward to what she has to say. And so that's about it. So me and Rhonda, we just wanted to let you know that we, I don't know how we're going to do it. We're just going to try it.
Getting ready? We got
your back. All right. Hey.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys, see you next week.
There are 2 things we would like you to do. Number 1, enter our monthly drawing by sending your email address to info@warheals.org. Spelled out, that is info@WARHEALS.org. Put drawing in the subject line. We will notify the winner or winners via email by midnight on the last Thursday of each month. Our second request, engage with us on IG. Follow, like, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms at warheals_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. WAARHEALS_. on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. As always, we thank you for listening and see you next week.